it's always like scary putting out stuff that's different
Hmm.
than what you used to do, because it feels good to have like validation that people like it, and it's scary to put out stuff that's different, even if, you're really stoked on it.
Hmm. Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, 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 everybody, to episode number 562 of the podcast. Wonderful episode for you all today. Of course, if you like what you're hearing and you want to amplify the podcast, give it a share, give it a like, tell people about it, give it a review. Castingfor2.com is a perfect place to go and find where the podcast is available on all major platforms. Buy some swag. Follow me on the socials. Blue Sky, trying to build Blue Sky up. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing all right and having a wonderful day, week, month, whatever you're going through. I hope it's good, and if it's bad, it'll get good. Just hang in there. But you know what? I need to talk about my guest today. My guest today is the lead singer of the band Pigeon Pit, Lomes Oleander, and just so much fun chatting with her. And I honestly really enjoyed this chat. And oh, I should say that they have a new album out, available right now, Crazy Arms, and it's a great listen. Everybody go listen to the chat, pick up the album, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, but I'm done talking because we need to get into this episode. All right, so everybody sit back, relax, and Lomes, take it away. Yeah. Where in the world are you located?
I live in Olympia, Washington,
Oh,
but
okay.
I am in Portland, Oregon right now.
Okay. I'm an Oregon boy, so I know of this
Cool.
Portland
Yeah.
very well, and I know a little bit of Washington. I know Olympia is the capital, and I have, or I used to know a lot of people in Everett. So yeah.
Yeah. Olympia is fun.
Yeah, I over the past couple of years, I've seen a bloom in Seattle of people going to Seattle and Washington in general. And I was just always like, good for you, Washington. It's about time. I used to, I mean, I would always pass through Washington to go to Canada, but still, I always liked I mean, it's Pacific Northwest. What's not to like?
Yeah. It's pretty.
For sure, for sure. And so this is a pretty loose podcast where we can talk about anything or nothing. But I'm always curious when somebody catches the bug. In your case, when did you catch that music bug?
I would say, I mean, I've kind of just always been playing music. Like when I was 5, I begged my parents for like piano lessons, and they
Mm.
got me this like digital keyboard thing when I was like 5, and I started learning piano then. And I have like these super like distinct memories in like kindergarten
Mm.
and first grade, like writing songs and like working them out in my brain, like the lyrics and how it would go and stuff, and figuring out how long they were, and like I don't know. So I've always been making them, but I started playing guitar when I was like 12,
Mm.
and yeah, I've kind of just been writing songs the whole time, so I'm not really sure when I got it.
No, but that's awesome. I don't want to say catching a hobby, but I mean, you were younger. So, like, catching something and then just being able to refine it and do some different things. I'm curious, have you ever looked back at those songs that you wrote way back when and said, you know what, maybe I had something going about this macaroni art. I think I can turn this into an actual song.
I haven't really gone back and looked over stuff that I wrote when I was like a kid, and maybe I should try to track it down. I'm not sure where if like maybe one of my parents has it or something. But there's songs that I wrote like in high school that I still play because I
Mm.
started putting stuff out that I had written when I was like 18, and so I have some stuff from high school that I still will still play live.
Do you still relate to that high school part of yourself when you play these songs today?
Yeah, I think you have to try, if you want to not get jaded and and burn out and weird, you have to try to still like relate to your younger self.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I always love hearing that, but also I hear a lot of the like, oof, I like who I don't know who I was in high school and stuff like that. I think it's cool that you stay connected to the high schooler. I'm someone who also likes to stay connected to that high schooler, even though he's probably annoying.
Oh yeah.
He
Oh
was
yeah.
fun. He was fun. Come on.
I don't know how much I would want to hang out with my high school self or for how long, but I have a lot of like, empathy and like connection to it, obviously, of just being like, damn, you were going through some shit and you were trying to figure out how to get through it the best you could. And I don't know, you got to have like love and appreciation for that.
Yeah, yeah. Did you obviously I don't want to dive into the issues or anything like that, but hearing that you wrote songs in high school, was that your way of coping through things?
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think that, yeah, I mean, I spent just like hours and hours like alone in my room, like, you know, going down like YouTube holes of
Mm,
like obscure music and like looking at like music blogs that just had like, there were these like blogs like Sophie's Floorboard was like one that I was like super into. Um, and there was this one called RABM that I was into that it stands for like Red and Anarchist Black Metal.
mm,
And there's like just, just nerds writing about the bands that they love. And like you just kind of, I don't know, I would like deep dive into YouTube holes of music and music blogs, and then also just spent so much time like just playing music alone in my room, like late into the night. That I think definitely there was some of that going on. It was an escape or yeah, coping.
it's always fascinating when like I've taken like YouTube rabbit holes. It's just interesting where you get to, but also I mean sometimes it's fun to just kind of do deep dives in who the artists are inspired by and who are they inspired by
Yeah,
and so on and so forth, and you just kind of keep going down and just be like, wow,
totally.
it's I didn't see that. Oh, they like that band, that song. Wow. Oh, would have never guessed. And then yeah, but also
Yeah, I
it's
think that there's like a lot like lost in, like so many people discover music now just through like an algorithm or through
mm,
like Spotify,
yeah,
like just like boosting certain stuff and telling you like what you should listen to. And then like, I don't know, like there's like so much like corporate influence or like
yeah,
AI influence into like what people listen to. Whereas like, even if it's through the internet, back then we were still like connecting to each other through like literally just people being nerds and
yeah,
writing about stuff that they cared about, and then other people just like reading it and being like, oh my God, this Cuddy band from like New Jersey, and then you find out that they're like playing in your town or something, or like, you know, or like even before internet stuff, like reading liner notes,
yeah,
like reading people talk about the music that they make, just in records or CDs, and like people will often talk about the music that inspires them or that they're obsessed with.
yeah, yeah. It's I think you hit the nail on the head about. Well, there's two places I want to go. Just like when growing up, whenever I would hear a song or a band or a singer, I would just always kind of think, this feels a little bit like you're ramming this down my throat. You're like, there's something not organic about this person or this band,
Yeah,
this song. And then nowadays, it's just like, oh, Yeah, no, they're like now. I feel like I don't know if it's just getting older, or if they're just like whatever, just throw it out there. It's like, oh no, this person was designed in a lab and
Yeah,
put out there to just gain money for whatever the machine. But
totally.
it's just crazy when growing up, I was just always like, huh, this is kind of odd. Why am I seeing so much of this stuff? But then that, I guess that goes into the next point. You said, just kind of, reading liner notes and reading other things that other people would say. It's, as great as technology has gotten and also bad, it is nice to know that, oh, you can find music a bit easier. I say a bit easier, but better than like 20 years ago, where it was just like, oh, I have the radio. What was that song? I don't know. Anyway, well,
Yeah.
we hope it comes back on, and then we'll write it down or something like that. I just always remember thinking, especially since now I'm talking to artists, like when how did we get our musical taste when we didn't have any of this stuff available? It was just, yeah, you either you saw them or you heard them on the radio, or you were lucky enough to see their music video on MTV. That was it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's like, like punk and DIY and like
Mm,
independent
yeah.
distros that are like doing stuff, or you just like, I mean, like I'm not even that old, like I'm young, but I like do remember just like being young and like seeing people on the street
Mm,
like that had like a band shirt or like patches
mm,
that you recognize and being like, yo, what's up? Like, I don't know, just like by talking to people and
mm-hmm.
like recognizing each other as like weirdos and hanging out, I don't know, like
Yeah.
there's like and like zines and stuff, like fanzines, and just like
Mm-hmm.
going to the record store and like looking at
Yeah.
stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's um, when I was living in Salem, I would always hit up, I would hang out downtown, hit up a movie, and then walk to the record store and just kind of hang out in there and just kind of catch the vibe, what people were talking about, what people were listening to. And I thought I was like, man, this is a cool atmosphere. I could see why, I don't know, there's that movie High Fidelity that people get so invested and passionate about music. And I'm like, I get it. It makes sense to me, although I would never shame anybody for their musical tastes. But still, I'm just, yeah, this is fun. Just not like, like, like bringing a level of interaction to it where, it just kind of isn't there anymore. Um,
Totally. And yeah, I think that like stuff getting moved on to like streaming
mm,
zones, you, I don't know, like I am such a nerd about packaging,
mm,
like the actual physical thing that you're getting in the like with the record or the tape or the CD, like
mm,
having cool and unique packaging with like art that you can tell is
yeah.
like actually also part of the music as like a physical object is like just really sick to me. And I do all of our own like design
Mm-hmm,
for our packaging and stuff. And like, I don't make all of the art myself. Like our last one, Crazy Arms,
mm-hmm,
my friend Shawnee Miller, who's an amazing artist, did the paintings for, and then like I collaged it, or
mm,
we collaged it together, and then I kind of refined it and put all the packaging parts together. But I spent so much time like working on the graphic design element of that part of the art. Because that's, I don't know, I just think that it should be a physical thing that you get
right, right. Yeah, there
rather
should
than
be
just
some sort
like
of,
oh,
yeah, like an experience towards it. Just yeah, just some yeah, no, I still buy media. I love my Blu-ray collection. I love my record collection. That's something that I'm always gonna love. And not to be nerdy about it, but I'm just always like, why would I want something that's been compressed so much versus I can
yeah,
have something that's just there and raw. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and I had like, you get the tape at the show
Mm,
and you play it in your car
mm-hmm.
until it sounds completely fucked, or or you find a tape like somewhere and you listen to it and you're like, oh, this has been sun damaged and it sounds really interesting. Like I don't know, when it's like a physical piece of, like, we record all our stuff onto like a tape
Mm,
because it's like this physical thing that actually changes and degrades, and you can like hear it in the way that the tape warbles, and the way that, like, there's parts on our last record where the tape is like kind of deteriorating
mm-hmm.
because there's it was just like there's part of that tape that was a little flawed, and there's like actual like little bits where the physical tape is shedding
Yeah.
and you can hear it in it, and it's just like a thing that you have, and it's not, you instantly lose that when it's just all punched into Spotify or whatever, when it's like just only through digital. And I
Yeah.
don't think it's just like a hipster thing where you're like, oh, it's just like, no, I actually love and care about this thing that is a real physical object
Right.
that can change and that you then find in a box like 10 years later, 20 years later, and you're like, oh shit, like this thing that I have, it will never change or never be deleted by some like billionaire that's like, this shouldn't be on here anymore and I want to get rid of this.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's some shit with streaming where I'm like, oh, they just own all of that stuff and they can just decide, oh no, you don't have that anymore. Like, we own that, as opposed to like having a physical thing in your possession that's yours. I think that there is like a big like difference that isn't just like oh, I'm a hipster, I only care about vinyl or whatever.
Yeah. And that's partly one of the reasons why I still have my well, it's not mine. It was my sister's cassette player. And, just kind of rummaging through her stuff, I randomly found it in a box and I said, I'm going to keep this just in case something happens, like something, whatever. And so I still have it. And I found some cassettes that my grandpa, he passed away, but he recorded some stuff. And I was just, what is this? And I was a little creeped
Dude,
out,
that's
but
awesome.
well, I was creeped out because it was like some weird like I don't know, like talking going on, and I was just, oh, Grandpa, we're like, what is this? And but he just recorded like a church sermon, and I was just, oh, okay, okay, now I rest easy, because
Yeah.
yeah, but I still like. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have just been like, "What is this? It's a tape. What do you tape paper together? Well, what's paper anymore?
Yeah.
I'm young." Um, but yeah, so I always have that. What was the feeling getting physical media of your songs like for you?
Um,
Like a record or the
well,
cassette? Like what was like, oh
yeah.
shit. Is that like what was it for you?
Well, the first time that I did that, I was like burning CDs
Mm-hmm.
um on my computer, and then, printing out at the library the things that I would cut up
Mm,
and put onto these like colorful CD sleeves that I
mm,
got at the art store.
yeah.
Um, and so they were all like just burned myself, and then I just like wrote on them in Sharpie, you know, and now we have, it's like completely different, obviously, but it was initially like just me doing all of this myself, or like a friend with a tape duplicator who had a little tape distro making tapes. And then a friend of mine on this tour, I was in Santa Cruz, gave me a tape duplicator, like this big heavy tape duplicator, and I would just take it on tour. And every time we ran out of tapes, I would just have one left, and I'd be like, all right, and I would copy like 50 of them, and then
Yeah.
print the art back out, and like, uh, just keep making the tapes out of these blank tapes that I would just keep with us. Um, but I mean, it's really cool, to not have to be on that level of it where I can just be like, someone else is doing that
Mm,
who wants to be doing that. Um, but I also, I mean, like I was saying about the physical, like being nerdy about the physical design, is that over the years I've been, I don't know, I've just like had more time to like learn about all the different things you can do with packaging and with physical media. And like even our last album, we just had a gatefold record for the first time, and
Mm.
that's like awesome to me. I'm like really stoked to have a gatefold record.
Yeah.
Or like, um, I don't know. Yeah, it's really trippy the first time you get vinyl that has your own voice on it and has,
Yeah.
your own music on it. Like that's just crazy to me. But I think you get used to it pretty fast when you're just like in the chaos of touring and you're like, okay, get 50 more of those out, and
Yeah.
I don't know. You get used to it, but it is trippy.
Do you, on a certain level, think like, oh, I've made it now? I'm we're on a vinyl now.
Yeah, there's like the twin feeling of like, and I think that you can't feel one of these without the other, but
Yeah.
being like, oh wow, I've really made it in this way where I never thought that I would be doing like in have this kind of relationship with my music where um it's like a like partially sustaining my life and
Mm.
also I don't know, I actually didn't think I would quote unquote succeed in this way. And then the fear of, well, if you if you succeed or like get recognition or success in this other way, then you instantly start making trash music and
Right.
that you lose, that's like a I feel like in my brain a fear where I'm like, oh, if I have any sort of success, I will start making shit that is bad
Right.
inherently because all the stuff that I listen to, or like there's a lot of bands that I listen to where I think that the earlier stuff is the best, and I think that that's just a um like a listening bias
Yeah.
that isn't
Yeah.
necessarily real.
Yeah. I know what you mean. There are some bands that I always like to, whether they've been out for a couple of years and I just kind of miss the boat. Sometimes I just like to start out with the latest stuff and work my way
Yeah,
down, just because fresh ears. For existing bands, obviously there's that that connection that, oh man, I like this album or I saw this album. Um, yeah, I just keep reminding myself, okay, they're getting older and so am I. They're getting older and so am I. We'll be okay. Uh,
yeah,
we'll be all right. They're fine, and I'll be fine. So, um,
yeah.
uh, uh,
I think it's really cool to grow and change with
yeah,
your music, and like I think that I'm also like low key certain bands where I'm like they made super banging music and then they don't actually care about making music that other people like, and
mm,
they're like, we're just gonna make whatever we want, and I can be like, yeah, that's not good,
yeah,
I don't like that new shit, but they are literally supporting themselves playing music, and then they get to have fun and play whatever they want, and
right,
they don't care about if other people like it. I think that that's awesome.
yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah, no,
I don't
just
know.
yeah, no, just like the fuck it button gets pushed, and they're just like, we're just gonna do what we want, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, just respect for it, I grew up. I'm not gonna trash on this band because I like this band, but Sum
let's go.
41 was one of those bands that, man, their first album was so great. Their second one was great. I genuinely like all of them, and then they went through their like serious emo phase, where artist phase,
Mhm.
and again, nothing bad. I still enjoyed it. That's what I would listen to when I was in study hall. But sometimes I wish that they would go back to that. Hey, we're gonna rock and do metal and just kind of have fun. But you know what? Again, if that's where they're going, well, I think they're breaking up. But anyway, it doesn't matter because whatever they want to do, I'll listen to it.
Yeah, and I think that like I don't know. I think that when people are like trying to make music that will like go viral or be popular
Mm,
or make them money is
yeah,
like when that's when it's like you can tell that it's forced or being pushed down your
yeah,
throat, and you can tell that it's like inauthentic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After that point, yeah, it's just kind of like, reassess your life. Um, and so I'm curious. Another thing that I like knowing is you mentioned that the new album. Um, I don't know why I'm having Crazy Arms. I always
Yeah,
like knowing off the album. Was there one song that took a particular amount of time? Something wasn't gelling, either the lyrics or the music just wasn't coming together. That
like that we had to like rework a lot, or
that you were just kind of like, this doesn't sound right, or this doesn't work. Let's keep it on. Let's keep reworking it. Was there one song that just took a little bit extra time to figure out?
um, let me think. I gotta think of the songs on this record. um, I mean, it's always like scary putting out stuff that's different
Uh-huh.
than what you used to do, because it feels good to have like validation that people like it, and it's scary to put out stuff that's different, even if,
Mm-hmm.
you're really stoked on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the song Hot Shower Winter Morning off of the B side, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of my favorite songs on the record, it's really chaotic and weird. Um, but I think it's like one of my favorite songs on that record, and I think it's really good. But
Mm-hmm.
it did take like the arranging of that song. Um, Took a really long time to figure out
Mm-hmm.
because um, I like to describe my aesthetic and my art as maximalist,
Mm-hmm.
and it is really challenging to lean into maximalism without, blowing out the back, like without like going too far into that and like doing it in a tasteful way, in a way that is not like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that song just has a lot. It has like, electric guitar and cello, and it has like these like tape recordings of bird sounds on them that are kind of placed in intentional ways,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some vocal doubling which we've never done before, and yeah, that one was really hard to arrange and took a long time to figure out the flow of it for sure.
Uh, I mean, I when you say maximalist, I get it. I'm instantly
Yeah.
there already. I'm like, gotcha. So everything in the kitchen sink, I get it. And now to the flip side of that question, was there one that just kind of felt like it came together a lot quicker than that one?
um the first song on the record,
Mm-hmm.
when I wrote it, it's called Bad Advice. I heard exactly like what I wanted on it and
Mm-hmm.
where, like the arrangement, like when I write songs, I bring them to the band and I have arrangements in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then I, explain how I want to do the song, and then we play it, and I'm playing with these people that are incredible musicians and are playing instruments that I are not my strong suit, and they just have all of these ideas and like have all these ideas that I would never have thought of. So we work through the arrangements together and like develop them over time. Um, but Bad Advice, that first one, I was like, I know exactly what this is gonna sound like. I want it to sound like we're, a folk punk band and have been a folk punk band, but we're also playing pop punk and we're also playing country, and it is super not definable into like one box.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're branching out in all these different ways, I was like, I really want the first track on the album to fucking sound like, you know, 2005, like Defiance, Ohio style
Yeah.
folk punk with the cello and the open hi hat
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
harmonica. Like I really wanted it to be like, no, this is the folk punk song, and it's like it's like a strong and like I don't know. I just wanted it to sound exactly like it did on the album. So
I as a drummer, there's nothing better than hearing the open hi hat.
oh yeah,
It's just Like not only hearing it but playing it is just fun. I would try to put that into any kind of song that I would do, and then I eventually had to stop because like, well, I'm putting this in on everything. But yeah, there's some sort of nice, I don't know, yeah, like you said, it's very early, like mid 2000s, and it's just yeah, it's a vibe.
Especially when you start with a close hi-hat in a
Mm.
song and then it like
Mm-hmm.
kind of slowly opens and
Mm.
then you hit the stride of the open hi-hat is like it's just so powerful and you're like, okay, we have hit a run. Like, we started out like walking with energy and like,
Yes.
it's just like it builds up in this way where you're just like, oh shit, we're here. It's going.
So, oh yeah, so you get into that groove, and it's just like, so question: what if we never stop playing this? Because we're already in the groove. Why do we want to disrupt this? Let's just keep it going.
Totally.
And a whole album of just one song, a 3 disc set. Why not? Let's just do it. No, I'm just kidding. Or you know what? Do it. It's your call. I'll give you that idea. I won't take any money.
All
If you
right.
do it, just let me know. I'll just say that.
I'll give you the shout out.
All right, cool, cool, cool. But I'm always curious when I talk to musicians, and there's never a right or wrong answer. I'm just super curious for you. What makes a perfect song?
Oh geez, what makes a perfect song? I think what makes a perfect song, or okay, when I'm like writing a song, I am like, I feel like the, let me put this into words, the, the goal of a song, I feel like if it's perfect, is gonna be that it should be like that you would want to put it on a mixtape.
Oh,
And
okay,
I think
yeah.
that a song's ability to be put on a mixtape or to hit really hard on a road trip,
Mm,
those are like two specific things in my brain where I'm like thinking about, I don't know. I think that those are two like qualities of perfect songs is that they belong on a mixtape that is like special and being made for someone, or that it is like to be yelled in the car on like a drive across the country where you're like maybe getting into some shit by going on the trip. Like
yeah.
I feel like the context that it ends up in people's lives is what makes it perfect and important because then you think back to those songs of like this reminds me of this person or this time and that's like not a quality that I could describe in the song,
Hmm.
but if a song is a good mixtape song, it's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Or a good road trip song. It's a good fucking
Yeah.
song.
You're the first person to say that, and I 100%
Oh
agree with
yeah.
you. Yeah, just the idea of our song would be a good way to build up to I don't know some other band's song. I just love that. It's like we didn't think about that, but it does work. Yeah, no, I love that. Bring anybody who has mixtapes, send them my way. Curious to hear. And so I went on that tangent. Sorry. Um,
Oh,
and so for the people at home who would like to keep up to date with everything that you're doing, and I know that you guys are going on tour here pretty soon. Or of course, pick up Crazy Arms. Where can they do all of that?
yeah. So, on Bandcamp, there is all of our music you can download for free, or you can donate if you want. You can order physical copies online there. And on the right side of the page, or maybe on mobile, it's down at the bottom. I kind of forget, but on Bandcamp, it has all of our upcoming shows, and you can follow us. That's set up through either Songkick or Bands in Town, which are independent websites that then sync everything. So it's like when you see a band's shows on Spotify, it's because they're on these
Hmm.
third-party websites, and you can follow us on there and get like notifications and updates if you're not on social media. Because I'm always like, it's funny being a band and being an artist and being like, everyone should get off social media. I hate social media. But we have an Instagram if you want to follow us on there. I post just pictures of film that I get developed off my camera, and I post other weird content sometimes. But all of our shows, I'm always plugging on there. But yeah, you can follow us on Bandcamp or wherever you want to. You can download it for free. We're doing a West Coast tour at the end of this month, February 2025, and beginning of March. We'll be going down to LA, Phoenix, back up to Olympia. So yeah, you can see us there. We got other stuff that we'll be dropping soon. Other
Fantastic.
dates.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I really enjoyed this chat, and anytime you want to come back on, just say the
Oh
word. All
yeah.
right.
Fuck yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you, and you have a wonderful rest of your day, and keep staying safe and healthy. All right.
Will do.
All right. Bye bye.
Oh yeah. Yeah.